Greetings, people who really like this, the accordion. In previous videos, I talked about how you can play the blues, a real simple blues, in a major key or a minor key, a minor tonal center. I showed some easy stuff. And then at some point I made a little video and I showed how you can make a Balkan or Russian sound. And I use simple chords, a C minor, G's dominant 7, F minor, and a D minor 7 with the diminished 5. That's my notation. This is traditional here. I showed that and I played around with it. And then at some point I told you about my theoretical perfect chord. Here's a C perfect chord, looks like that. C perfect, and here's your C major if you want to compare. I talked about that. And I talked about how I use this chord, this theoretical chord, to make a blues scale, and how to find an easy blues scale in any key. And I used this handy thing I devised called the amplified circle of fifths. All right, and this is it. This is my revised version. I made it a little prettier. And here's that perfect chord. This is your major data ring. I talked all about that. So here's your perfect chord. And I showed you how, if you take two slices from that chart and you isolate them and enlarge them, you can see that we have here your tonal center. So this would be your subject slice. And across from that would be your aggregating slice. So you take your tones of your perfect chord, mix them with your aggregating minor. Right, you put them together. I already talked about this many times, and you get your circle shortcut to the blues. You get a blues scale. And I showed this. I won't go over it again. All right, we talked about that. And if you have a hard time envisioning, what I just said, here's that same scale mapped out on notation paper. This is my clef. It's the same as a G clef. You see how it looks. And when you get your handy accordion out, all you do is keep in mind for that blues scale, that C blues scale, you take your perfect chord. That's your perfect chord. Your E flat minor. You use what I call idiomatic alternation. You mix the tones, you weave them in and out. Now you have the blues sound. Before you had this. You had, like, let's say joy or enthusiasm, and here you have doom and dread, and neither alone sound like the blues. You have to blend them. I call it the Mississippi meld. That's the proper name I give it. Okay, you already know about that from my other videos. So what if you want to make a simple song and you want it to be bluesy, but you want to throw in some different chords? So let's say we took that C minor tonal center, we threw in an A flat dominant 7, and here's an F dominant 7, G dominant 7, F minor 7. Here's traditional notation. You're probably more familiar with this. All right? So you want to fool with that, and you want it to be kind of bluesy. All right? And you also say, well, what does that have to do with your amplified circle of fifths? Well, if you learn the circle of fifths the way I teach it, you can start to envision things. You can start to see things in the chart. So let's say we have our chart and we want to find our tonal center. All right there it is. There's your tonal center. And here to make your F dominant 7, you take your F major chord tones and your E flat tone. You get your F dominant 7. Here you have your G bass with your B diminished chord tones. You get a G dominant 7. You can get your G dominant 7 over here too with your G major chord tones, and then your F tone. That would be your minor 7. Down here you have your A flat major tones, and with your G flat tone you get an A flat dominant 7. Oh, and here's your F dominant 7 up here. You can get it this way with your F bass and your A diminished chord tones. You know, I hope I'm speaking correctly. I've been known to speak wrongly. So anyway, so that's how the chart comes into play when you're looking at chords and you're figuring out chords. And you see that most of your chords are in your quadrant here. You have a quadrant. This chart is made up of 4 quadrants, all right? So most of the stuff that you need, the goodies, are in here in this one quadrant. And I talked about that before, so I'm not going to go into heavy detail. So the chords we're using are, we can use a C minor, a simple C minor. All right, slide down to A flat dominant 7. Now normally when I teach the 5-finger Stradella bass technique, and I don't do a lot of sliding. But in this case, for now, we're going to slide a little bit so I can show you something. C minor, A flat dominant 7, F dominant 7, G dominant 7. Now what I just showed you are all in the traditional position. C minor, A flat dominant 7, F dominant 7, and G dominant 7. Now that's all in the traditional position. All right? So we go back to the blues scale that we got from using our circle shortcut. All right? We go back to our blues scale. Right? And here's the tones. All right? We're going to use those tones. And we're going to use them with these chords. See, that's very basic, very simple chords. I just showed you how to play them, and I already showed you the blues scale from other videos. We use the C blues scale. You can play this all day long. It's the same thing. You can play it over and over, but you can switch it up, you can change it, but it's that simple. It is that simple. Now, if you can't see my hand properly because of the lighting or whatever, here's the chords. Here's your C minor, that's our tonal center, right? And here's your A flat dominant 7, see your bass, your chord button, F dominant 7, bass and chord button, G, bass and your chord button. Now there's another way to play these chords. Instead of playing the C minor down here in the regular position, all right, you can go up here, use the counter bass, catch that E flat major chord button, and you'll get a C minor 7. So you can start your tune here, C minor 7, C bass, E flat major chord button. Then when you want to move to the A flat dominant 7, it's right here. Look, see? C minor 7, A flat dominant 7. Then you go up to your F dominant 7 and G7. For G7, you can use the G bass and the D diminished 7 chord button with your thumb. Again, watch this. C minor 7, right to the A flat dominant 7. It's right there. F dominant 7, G bass with the D diminished 7 chord button. You see? And then C minor. See, you already have 2 ways of playing this simple thing. You already have 2 ways. You can start out with your C minor 7, go to your A flat dominant 7, then your F dominant 7, then your G bass with your D diminished 7 button instead of your G dominant 7 button. Oh, I hope I'm speaking right. These are alternate ways to play those easy chords. Alright? Here's the chords we're playing with my notation, and here's traditional notation. Alright? And here's the explanation. What happens when you combine these buttons? This is what you get. Okay, you can study that. It's not that complicated. Once you learn my system, 5-finger, it's actually really, really easy. And you won't go back to the old way. The old way's crap. So let's fool with this now. C minor. Again. I'm emphasizing the chords over there, not this. This is that blues scale. You can practice this on your own. You can fool with this on your own. So don't worry about this melody here. We're talking about chords. Now, when we get to the chorus, okay, we go to an F minor 7. That's how you would write it. I write it like this, F minor 7. So let's look at that. Just a regular position, regular F minor. Or you can use an F minor 7, but let's just use the F minor for today, alright? And then C minor. Then A flat. Then G with the G counter bass. And that D diminished 7 button. Counter bass with the pinky. D diminished 7 button with the thumb. Now watch it again. F minor. C minor. A flat dominant 7. And you go right to the G counter bass there. See that? Again. Oh, no, excuse me. F. F minor. C minor. A flat dominant 7. And then G dominant 7. Otherwise, you have to go from your A flat and slide all the way up to the G dominant 7 in regular position, which is difficult. Okay, watch this now. Again. Oops. Okay. F minor, C minor, A flat dominant 7, G dominant 7. Right? But there's another way. There's another way even still. F minor. Let's go F minor. C minor. Now we're going to catch the A flat or G sharp. Either way, counter bass. Alright? With the E flat dominant, E flat diminished 7 chord button. And then G dominant 7. Now watch this again. This is beautiful. F minor, C minor, G sharp or A flat counter bass with E flat diminished 7 chord button. I'm showing you here an alternate way. Watch it without me talking. Again. just like I said in the very beginning of my videos, way back in the beginning, you see that the base of my hand, the bulk of my hand, doesn't go flying around like a maniac. It stays right in one area. Even if you choose this way, or you choose this way. Either way, you don't have that big thing that you see on the internet with guys playing the accordion going, well, you know, all that stuff. You don't need that. And that's about it for today. So I'll come back and I'll show you something, how we can use that same scale with other chords, and it'll work beautifully. I'll show you this in the next video, okay? So thanks for being incredibly patient, and just practice this. You can slide if you want to, or you can not slide, do it this way. Just watch this over and over and you'll see that it's really easy. You stay in one area and you're good to go. So thanks for being incredibly patient, and I hope to see you soon.